Today we want to add and subtract and multiply polynomials, and in this case we're looking at subtracting two polynomials. So especially when we're subtracting, it's important to use parentheses to group our polynomials. So to start with, I'm going to put a parentheses and I'm going to write down the first polynomial, which is negative 4x cubed plus 6x squared plus 9x minus 3. And then I'm going to finish the parentheses. And really, this first parentheses is not that important. The second parentheses is important because we have to make sure that this subtraction sign gets distributed to every term of the second polynomial. So then that has to be 3x cubed plus 4x squared plus 7x plus 12. And so that second parentheses is a lot more important than the first. Sometimes it's just easier to make sure we put both in parentheses in order to kind of simplify things. So there's nothing to multiply to this first polynomial, so we can just write down what is existing. So negative 4x cubed plus 6x squared plus 9x minus 3. And then we can distribute this negative to each term in the polynomial. So a negative times a positive, that's going to change the sign to negative 3x cubed. Negative times a positive, that becomes negative 4x squared. Negative times a positive, that becomes negative 7x. And negative times a positive, that becomes negative 12. Now we've distributed the negative sign, and all we have left to do is to combine like terms. So we have to look, and we always want to write it with the highest degree term first. So the highest degree here, we have x cubed, x squared, x to the first, and then we have a constant. So the highest degree is going to be x to the third. So we look for all of the terms that have x to the third in them. And we want to take that operation or that sign that's in front, because that goes, the sign that's in front of the coefficient always goes with the coefficient. So we have a negative 4 and a negative 3. That becomes negative 7x cubed. The next one we have is squared. So we have the sign and the x squared, and the sign and the x squared. So we have 6x squared minus 4x squared, so that's 6 minus 4, which is going to be plus 2x squared. Then we have the linear term, or just the x, so 9x minus 7x becomes positive 2x. And then the constant term, we have negative 3 minus 12, that becomes negative 15. And so then that one, this polynomial is subtracted. These two polynomials are subtracted, and then this answer is written in standard form with the highest degree written first. Next one we have is the same thing. I'm not going to put a parentheses around the first polynomial because it's not required when we do subtraction. We only have to distribute that negative sign to the second polynomial. So that's equal to 2x cubed plus 6x squared minus x plus 1. And then I'm going to make sure that I distribute this negative sign terms in the polynomial. So then we get 8x cubed minus 3x squared minus 2x plus 9. And we have the two polynomials, and what we have to do now is distribute the negative to each term in the polynomial. So I guess I should write down this first one first. There's nothing to do here, so we can just write it down. So 2x cubed plus 6x squared minus x plus 1. And then we distribute the negative. And what the negative is going to do is just change the sign. So positive 8x cubed becomes negative 8x cubed. and a negative times a negative becomes a positive, and a negative times a negative becomes a positive, and a negative times a positive becomes a negative. So now we've distributed the negative sign to every term in the polynomial, and now we can just combine like terms. So again, we want to have the highest degree first. So we have 2x cubed, and if there's no sign written in front, then that means positive. And then we have minus 8x cubed, so that becomes negative 6x cubed. Then the next one we have is squared, so we have a positive 6x squared and a positive 3x squared, so that becomes positive 9x squared. Then we have a negative x and a positive 2x, so 2 minus 1, that stays positive, so that's just going to be plus x. And then last we have a positive 1 minus 9, so that becomes negative 8. And then this is the answer in standard form. And standard form means the highest degree first, and then they go down from there. So 3, 2, 1, 0.